Welcome to the Lazy Pod podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, someone who we all know, the man who invented, created, gave birth to Lazy Town some 30 years ago. So let's get started right away. Ladies and gentlemen, Magnus Scheving. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for doing this. First of all, how are you doing these days? Keeping busy?
Yes, I am. Since I was a little child, I've always been really busy. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm always doing something. And when you get older, the day seems to go much faster. So I don't know why that is happening. But I'm doing a lot of different things. We own a restaurant in Iceland and a hotel, and I do a lot of public speaking around the world, a lot of that. And I'm doing working on a TV show that is actually a thriller that I've been working on for 8 years. So I'm working on that one, and then we bought Lazy Town back.
Yes, congratulations. That's a
Thank you.
big deal. The fans have lost their minds when they heard this. So what does that mean? Does it include all the episodes, the whole IP, including Lazy Town Extra and the music? And
The idea was in the old days, Lazy Town was done in Iceland. We did everything in one building, from sound to recording to stunts to music to editing to all of it, and writing and everything in one house, which rare. And we always wanted Lazy Town really to go us around the world as much as we could, and it went to almost 170 countries,
yeah,
or more even, in 28 or 27 or 8 languages.
yeah.
And so it was 500 million homes, so it was quite a lot, actually. But they said you needed to do something like a licensing and products, and I saw a little bit 89, everything started to change a little bit amongst kids around the world. I didn't know any kid who had all these diseases like AD.
Diabetes and
Yeah, all that. It's so many, lupus and food allergies, and I didn't know anyone who had it, and I don't. And even now in classroom, everybody has inhaler, and every third kid has something. So basically, what I wanted to do was to move kids, and then possible change the industry, because I think we are sickening our kids by with the bad food, basically how we make food,
that's
and
true.
we are killing them. And and no one listened in that time when I was trying to speak about this. And we were a little bit early. We were maybe right on the wrong time with Lazy Town in the beginning, but people loved the show, and parents, they saw that it was about health, and fans liked it. So, but we didn't have any like products. There was no products in the world, healthy products in the world. There was oatmeal with Quakers, and that's it.
That's about it.
There was really nothing. So, so we were trying to speak about this a little bit, and I wanted to do something about this. So I thought it was really bad that we couldn't get Lazy Town out. We were not strong enough to do it. We needed bigger muscles. So we tried to look for that muscles, and either the muscles who bought into it, they want to squeeze us and buy us for nothing, or they came up with an idea they want to do a huge thing that we really liked, and we sold it to them to be part of that vision. So you're going to follow that through. But and that was Warner or Turner who bought that,
Right.
2012, and then they put a lot of effort. We finished more episodes, and for 3 years we are filming. But long that time, they said they fired everybody, and they stopped doing the strategy of preschool. they were not going to do it. So Lazytown ended up basically in the shelf and was there, stuck there. And that was never my vision, to see Lazytown not moving, because Lazytown should be moving
Right.
and not be standstill somewhere in London. So I wanted to bring it home, and I want to try to get it back. And it took a very long time, but finally we got it back, and our main mission is basically to get Lazytown back to work, and basically get Lazytown again to start moving kids. And I think now Lazytown is even more relevant than it was, because Lazytown is 30 years old this year. 4th of November. It's
That's hard to
it's actually,
believe, isn't it?
yeah, and it's quite interesting because Iceland is 80 years old, not the country, but the country, the institution of Iceland, the democratic country of
Right.
Iceland,
Right.
1994. And it's 80 years old, and Lazytown is 30 years old. So it's quite funny. It's almost half. And so I would think that Lazytown is now a little bit older and wiser, and maybe know how to do it. And the kids who used to watch Lazytown and know what it stands for, they are now having kids.
Yeah.
So they understand it. So we think there is a opportunity to do Lazytown in a little bit, like, it's still relevant. Health is still relevant, and it's even more relevant now than it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, but and so it's fascinating to me that Lazytown, at least from what I've seen, has really never lost its popularity, even though it has been sort of on the shelf a little bit, off of broadcast channels. And it maybe it's the fans who've kept it alive, or maybe it's just there's something
Yeah,
about the initial idea that,
I would say Lazytown has a lot of fantastic fans out there, and I met a lot of them when I travel around the world, and they're all really, really have only met nice people. I never ever met any Lazytown fan have been any trouble whatsoever. It's always been fantastic to meet those people, basically wherever I go, and that doesn't really bother me at all. That I speaking to all the fans whenever I can. But it was quite interesting is that when it was put in the shelf, what we did when Lazytown was in 170 countries, 500 million homes, it was also the rights around the world with different things. And when Turner was going to do preschool strategy with 3,000 or more TV stations, they were going to launch it, and they wanted
sure.
to use Lazytown as the front of that you can trust the channels. And it was about health, and it was about that kids, parents would really trust the channel. So Lazytown is really like a trustworthy program for kids. And we never want to sell it to a fast food company or anything like that. We never did.
Right.
So they bought the rights from all those people for enormous amount of money, and they were going to do a huge strategy. So they meant it in the beginning that they were going to do it, and all the people who worked on it at Turner, they really believed that they were going to do great things. But then the top just changed the strategy, what happens many times, and they didn't go into preschool. So then they took it down from 500 million homes to, I think, 30 million or something.
Yeah.
So then Lazytown didn't get the eyeball. And then the fans start to look for it, and they start to take it back. So the fans start to really step in. And so I think Lazytown has enormous respect for all the fans.
Yeah, and places like Disney, they're very protective of their intellectual property, and they, will come after somebody legally, like if a kid publishes his own fan fiction online. But people have been doing this for Lazytown. They write their own stories, they draw their own
Yeah.
pictures. How do you feel about that stuff?
Great. It's fantastic. If it inspires someone to do something, it's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean,
And
these kids have grown up going to bed at 8:08. They drink water. They're kind to people.
Yeah, I think that's just, I've never met any lazy town fan. I say sometimes, because I've asked people ask me always the same question when I go around the world. They ask me, are you not lazy? Were people lazy in lazy town, who worked in lazy town? Or were you lazy? Do you never sleep in the middle of a day or something like this? Or and I always say, Yoko Ono and John Lennon, they were not lazy, even if they were in bed for many, many days, because they were actually motivating the world. And I think no one in Lazy Town was lazy, because in my mind, a lazy person, in my mind, you are lazy when you don't care. And when I say that, means if you say I'm not a woman, I don't care about women's rights, or then you are lazy. If you are I don't
Mm,
live in the United States, I live somewhere else, I live in England, I don't care about people who live in the United States, you're lazy. And if you, I don't care about different races, or different anything about religion, whatever it is, if you don't care about everything, you're basically lazy. And I think that every person who worked on Lazy Town, even from and um, and they all the people who, it was like a machine of people who had different roles, and
hmm
each one of those people had, none of them were lazy ever. Everybody who worked on Lazy Town really cared about it, and you can see it basically in the work. And if you look behind the scenes more, and people who work there, they realized later in life, wow, there was a lot of care in it from everybody. So I think that the song "No One Is Lazy in Lazy Town" is quite true, actually, and it means that everybody cares in Lazy Town. Basically, that's what it means. So I think when people really dive into Lazy Town and start to understand what it is, they realize that that's what it is. So I think Lazy Town cared about kids. I think they cared about the fans in a way, but we were busy. We were stuck basically inside a studio for 16 years almost.
It
And
was if people knew the schedule, I sort of captured this in your schedule was something like this, just so people know. You come into the office at 7 or so. You've already been on the phone from home, doing business at home. You come in at about 7, you start prepping for the day's shoot all day, and not just acting on camera, but directing. And acting on camera included doing action sequences and stunts, and then work on business, take phone calls during lunch throughout the day, finally stop shooting, work on a new episode idea during dinner, videotape the planning session for the next day, maybe stop the day at midnight, but almost never, and then get up again and do it the next day. And this just went on for years.
yeah, it was quite crazy. I always say that the I did a competition in like a fitness, like a kind of aerobics kind of, and that you have 2 minutes to do as much the most possible out of your body as possible in
Yeah.
2 minutes. And so you when you did that, you almost, when I went to the world competition in it, I couldn't never finish. I did 30 seconds, then you threw up, and then you trained the other 30 seconds, and then the other 30 seconds. And when I remember when I went to the, yeah, because when you do those 30 seconds, because it's supposed to be 2 minutes, you, let's say you do a jump, you're going to start with a jump, and then you're going to land on your feet, you're going to put your hands out, you are going to turn, you're going to jump down and do the most difficult push-up in the world, okay? When you have done that right without throwing up, you thought about, what about, instead of just jumping up, what about to jump and turn at the same time? And then I land, and then I do something else. And then you said, when you got that right, you said, okay, what about to jump and turn and go straight down and do the push-ups? So then that was only 3 seconds. So you took 10 seconds and took it down to 3, and then you practiced, put it down to 1. So you're always throwing up every 30 seconds after you never could do all the parts together. And then the world competition came, and I had never done the whole routine in my life without throwing up after 30 seconds. This is 2 minutes. And I remember Mounty, the guy who did all the music in Lazy Town, he did also this music. That's how we met. He did the music for me.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And it was quite funny. There was 4 exercises that you basically need to do, and then rest you can find out by yourself. And that was, you have to do abs or something, like 4 abs or 4 push-ups and something. And I remember when I was doing the abs, I just threw up, and you have to swallow it in the middle of the stage in the world competition.
That's great.
So I always thought that was what I did there was a fantastic warming for Lazy Town, because it was every 30 seconds you almost threw up. But what's quite interesting about it is that I was never really gonna be Sporticus. I was never gonna play Sporticus. We were trying to find another guy to do it, and the clock was ticking. We have already sold the show, and we need to deliver 42 episodes. And the clock was ticking. We couldn't find him. And it was basically because of insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because, I don't know if people know this, but if it's a fan of Lazy Town, who know Lazy Town is shot with puppets. And when you have puppets, you have to lift your hand up, and everything above here, you can see the screen. So you have to lower the guy like this. You cannot see his head, and then you have the puppet. So that means that the puppeteer are looking down at monitors, and there are a lot of monitors on the floor. And if you are Sporticus and you have to run next to the camera, there is no floor for you to run on, because you are very high up. You need to be on a small stick or platform or something. And if you had a platform in the middle of the screen like this, then the puppet can only be this side and this side. So they could never cross the frame, who looks really weird. So we had a platform that I was standing on, and if I'm going to run this way, that means the platform is here, and then the puppet couldn't be there. And if it goes in, they were very small, and I was really high, but we want to shoot it. That's why a lot of puppet shows, all the puppets are here. They're very low. If you look at Muppet Show, everything is here. They're running around, that the guest is standing on a box, and the puppets are running around him. He cannot move. The guest is normally sitting. But we had a moving show. We had a crazy show that everybody was moving and jumping. So this was a nightmare, because if I play Sporticus and I was looking this way, and I was going to do and run, I couldn't look down, because then the shot was ruined.
No.
There was somebody, we call it Hannes. Hannes was one of the guys that worked on Lazy Town. He was
the great Hannes.
Great Hannes. He actually, I trusted him for my life, so I just didn't look down, and then suddenly there was something there for me to jump on. But you couldn't look down, so we couldn't get anyone, an actor, to do it, because the insurance, he would say, what happened if I kill myself, if I just jump down and there's nothing there? So we were running out of time. So I played Sporticus, and I thought this was going to be easy, because I would just play Sporticus. It would not take so long time, 3-4 years. And I think I was 40.
You were late 30s.
Late 30s, yes. I was quite late in the game in that way. I wished I had played Sporticus when I was in really good shape, 25 or something. But this was a little bit later. So what happened is that I thought I would get writers, and I got a writer team, 17 guys in the beginning, and I got directors also from LA, and they have done a lot of different things, movies, etc., etc. And I was not going to direct Lazy Town either. I was not going to do that. So I was just going to play Sporticus, and I'm not going to write it. And then what happened is that we need to fire 15 of the writers. There was only 2 left, and who could do it. And you were one of them. And basically what you said, and I asked you to do, that was quite interesting because you had a lot of knowledge of writing, but you didn't have the ego. So you said, instead of trying to take your writing and put it into triangle, and you had a shape form and it didn't fit, so
Yeah.
you're trying to push your knowledge into that. You said, okay, I'm willing to learn. What do I need to learn about lazy time? What is that, what I need to do differently? And then I can use all my knowledge, all my things, the forms I know, but I would have an extra how to write lazy time. And I think that's how lazy time grew, because it was not something that had been done before. Actually, never. So suddenly the writing became between me, you, and Mauni. And so I think we did a lot of the ideas and did it around. And then there came one other Icelandic guy who was also there. But so the writing took an enormous amount of time as well, because we were rewriting some of the shows many
Ah,
times.
oh,
48 times sometimes. And we're always looking for something and better, because it's very difficult to write lazy time. It's extremely difficult, because if you have put educational in, the fun fall off. And I
yeah.
say something to people, if people really know Lazy Town and the fan are listen to this, it's quite interesting, because it's easy to write a show, and not easy to write a show for superhero and a villain, like Sporgus and Robbie Rotten. There
Right.
was no to write that. We could write thousands of those shows.
Yeah. That was fun.
We knew exactly how to do that. We could write thousands of shows just with the kids. But if you had Sporgus saving the day and you have Robbie Rotten want to destroy it, you couldn't really have Robbie Rotten go after the kids.
Nope.
Then he was just crazy. And so the plots need to be, if Ziggy, one of the characters, doesn't know how to swim, and he lied to the kids he knows how to swim, and the story is about him, then the character need to grow and learn and go and up and then succeed. But if Sporgus just jump in, the story is finished. Sporgus jumps in, save the day, Siggy, you should not lie, finished. So, and Robbie Rotten is not trying to, if Siggy was on a boat and the boat was sinking, he was lying that he could swim, and then he don't know how to swim, and
Right.
and
Right.
and then Robbie Rotten couldn't really try to aim something on the boat to sink the boat with a kid. He need to accidentally be shooting Sporgus, and then certainly something happened with Siggy. So it was quite enormous to package it in, was much more difficult, and to make entertaining, to brush your teeth, etc., because also the audience, they don't understand the health message, because you cannot say to a kid, you can be healthy when you're 21, eat this apple. The kids are never going to understand that. So there's a lot of hidden messaging in Lazy Town. It's a lot of small things everywhere who makes it that what it is. So it was quite difficult. It was like a university of studies to learn how to write it.
Oh, I don't think I've ever worked as hard again, because especially the first year we did what, 35 shows, which is,
Right?
it's crazy that we did that from January to December.
Yeah, it was crazy. But then the same thing. I was not going to direct the shows, but the directors, they couldn't do it. They have never worked like this with puppets, action, shitty backgrounds that you want to key it live. They have never seen it. They have never done it. So it was like one of
Well,
the
okay, but you didn't ever do it either. I mean, so this is one of the questions I had for you was, you didn't wake up one day and say, I've never directed in my life, but I'm going to be a director. I've never been a writer. I've never been a star. I've never been, but so what is that thing? Because that was one of the things that was most attractive to me about, you and putting this together. You had that entrepreneurial will to make something happen. Where does that come from? I know you come from a small town. You were determined to make something of your life, but you did a lot of things that you had never done before, and it turned into a #1 show on television.
Yeah, nobody does anything alone. But in Lazy, I knew Lazy Town. It was in my head, so I knew what I wanted. I've done a lot of commercials before and stuff like that, so I knew a little bit how the camera should be, but I've never really directed. And
That's right, that famous Pepsi commercial.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I was famous in Iceland for that, actually, when I was young. But it was quite interesting. There was we wanted to do it differently with a green screen and et cetera, et cetera. And I think because I didn't know that much about technology, that I could ask the guys to do something they said to me, this is not possible. It's not really possible to move your hand on a green screen without seeing the blur in between.
Yeah, the lines.
The lines and the key out green screen light, for example. And I always said to them, yeah, yes, why don't you take the flipper into the tupper and try to do, we fixed it somehow. And we found a way to do it, and the people did. And I knew the vision of Layston, what I wanted. I knew it wanted to be timeless. I wanted to use sounds. I wanted to be 8 beats that when Robbie Rotten is moving, it would be dun, 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 dun. It would be 8 counts. And Stefan Karl was so good at it that he
The
put it
best.
into his system because he has a lot of music in him. So when he was moving, he was always on beat. And it's like dun, 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 dun. And it was quite amazing. And so there were certain things I knew exactly what I wanted. So it was easier maybe for me sometimes to do it by myself than actually ask someone to do it. So I directed 70% of the show.
Yeah.
And then my editor, Silly, he did the rest. There was only 2, 3 other guys who directed something, I think.
Yeah, maybe 5 episodes
5
total.
episodes or something like that. And because Silly was the director, he was with me, or we were together in the editing room every night. And it was quite interesting because he knew exactly how everything. So sometimes when you have a good editor, they can be a very good directors because they spend.
Sure.
I think no director can be good if it doesn't spend enormous amount of time in the editing room. And I spent an enormous amount of time there, enormous. But the problem for me was normally when I was shooting Lazy Town is that I was in a costume, and the costume is really, really warm. So you basically, if you put your costume on, it was a little bit like you were taking like a 3-4 glasses of water and just spill it. So you were wet immediately when you put it on. So you were almost like when you go to a hot bath and your fingers goes like that. You felt like the whole body was like that. And so you're really warm, and the lights and everything, and the mustache was
Mustache always on the
on. It could fly off if you eat, or if you ate something. It was like, oh, and the hat to be so strong on your head that it was giving you enormous headache because when you were moving, couldn't fly off, and it was really warm.
We used to see if we could make you laugh after you got your mustache on because
yeah, then it boom, and it was like a nightmare. So it was, and then the problem was that when I was directing, I was saying like, okay, Stephanie run in here, she does this, and then Sporgus comes and jump, and they do this together, and then he flips up, and then I realized, oh, that's me. Okay, I need makeup, and then run in and did it. So the problem for me was a little bit later in life, after when I was doing the last show of Lazy Town, is that you could never warm up. You didn't have time to really warm up the body like
an athlete would.
An athlete would do. He would go and do some warm up and half an hour before, and then come in and do it. I just did it. So it had enormous impact on the whole body, basically, to do that. So and I still a little bit later, I felt it a little bit. But it was. But there was an enormous amount of team of people in Lazy Town who knew how much, how you say, everybody worked as a clock. It was there were famous directors who came to us.
Yeah.
Tarantino, for example.
Spike
To look,
Jones.
Spike Jones. There was a lot of people who came, and they saw we were shooting. I remember one time we were shooting something on green screen, like a lasso, and we were moving lasso. When a moving rope on a green screen, it disappeared because it's so thin.
Mm.
And so basically, green screen work like this: you have a green screen behind you, so you cannot have anything green that would disappear. So if I had a green costume, I will disappear. So I have a blue costume on a green screen, and Stephanie pink, etc., etc. And then we had a lasso, and we were moving it, and we shot it in a few minutes. I think 3 minutes or something. We took the lasso, okay, key out, and there was fantastic people working on it like crazy, and the key out, and we shot it and finished. And he said, I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen anything
You're
shot.
talking about Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. He was like, what is this? How is this possible? So I think Lazy Town was, the people who worked on Lazy Town, they have done James Bond, and they have done sets for those kind of shows. They have never done a kids show. So it was totally different technique that Lazy Town was done. But just so people understand, we had fantastic people working on the green screen. They had hundreds of buttons to try to key out green screen.
Yeah.
And what's quite interesting is that when you have a green screen, fruit and vegetables are green. Melons are green, and the carrots has green stuff on it. We were throwing this around on green screen. There's no one in the world to have done this on a green screen, because and so the team behind it was amazing.
I remember when we tried to shoot we had an episode where we had one scene that we needed a night sky. This was the first time. And they said, you can't have the night sky. But we said, we have to have a night sky. You have to tell the story. And somehow, and I know this is not easy to do when you're working with all this stuff, the computer and the high def, somehow within about 2 days, they gave us not just a night sky, but they gave us that moon that went whoop and popped back up. It was incredible.
Incredible. Yeah. There was a very good team in Lazy Town, and I missed the team because it was so like an oil machine after we've been together. But it was hard. You cannot. I would not put me through something like this again.
No.
Time. But it was interesting. It was maybe too much a little bit to need to run, to direct it and edit it and take part of a lot of it. But it was difficult because you needed to, there was a lot of things who could go wrong. And there were so many things. And you didn't have time to educate people about it. So when you educated the editor, you finished, like I give you, for example, one of the editors of Lazy Town is working now on the biggest shows on earth with Deadpool and Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And he learned how to do stunts in Lazy Town. And if you look at Deadpool, that is Sporgus jumping. That is the editing of Sporgus. That is exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where you learn how to do stunts. There were 6,000 stunts in Lazy Town. And to edit that together was quite interesting, because you need to have the arms moving the same place. And so it was quite interesting.
What was the number of the edits per show? There was like we could only do 999 cuts per show or something crazy.
Yeah, there was something about, I think it was 400 or something, but we broke that many times. And but there is a little bit just how you tell the story. And I think there are a lot of, my English is not good enough. You help me out here. Is autistic kids?
You sure? Yes, autistic.
They love the show, and there is something in it.
It moves.
And I remember I had a live show. I came here in Iceland. There was 200 kids, and I came, and they asked me to come and can you give it as a charity? And I went. And I went on the stage, and I took all the kids on the stage with me, not all of them, but a lot, like 40 kids. And we did 1 hour of a lot of jumping and a lot of movement. And the parents was crying. and I didn't understand, why are they crying? Why are they should be happy? So there were a lot of them crying and smiling and crying, and then I realized it was all of them were artistic kids. They had
Yeah.
never been on stage in their lives, never in front of people ever, and they didn't really want to. So it was quite interesting. There was something with Lazy Town that it
Well,
had
you
some.
remember there was a little girl named Jenny Stock. She had cancer, and
Yes.
she lived near where I live. And so the only thing that made her happy while she was doing chemotherapy was watching Lazy Town.
Yeah.
And her father and her family arranged to come up to the show, and you let them come onto the sound stage, and you did a little dance with her. And anyway, she's doing great now. She's a young lady. She's graduated, and she's got a great job, and it's very,
A
but
lot of people came to visit Lazy Town, a lot of kids, and I remember we stopped shooting many times that the kids was walking in, and there was a lot of that.
yeah.
So that was, yeah, it was a little bit like a family set in a way. And I remember
Unfortunately,
the princess of Sweden came,
oh, I remember, yeah.
and there was a sketch show, and she came. There was a royal visit to a lot of different companies in Iceland. She came to us, and she was supposed to stop 15 minutes or something like that. And we were gonna shoot some scenes, so we stopped. She came in, shot the scenes. She could say action and took
Yeah.
part of it a little bit, and then we thought she would leave and we could move
Keep
on,
going. Yeah.
because it cost a lot every day, cost a lot of money, and we need to finish what we are doing. And it was like, but she didn't go. She didn't leave at all. So we were like trying, and everybody we were trying to do something more, and she didn't leave. She didn't go. She didn't go. So I don't know how long he stayed, the 2 hours or something. I don't know. But then finally she left, and we liked her. She was really nice, actually. But what it is, and I asked the guys, why didn't she leave? I asked the guys who were planned, the bodyguards and all that stuff, and they said she never gave the signal. So they have a signal if they want to leave. If they're in a situation, this means, okay, I want to leave soon, or this is I really want to go, or whatever. I don't know what the signal is. If you do this, I don't know what that means. But she never gave the signal, so she didn't want to go. She just liked it, and she loved it. Thought it was a lot of fun.
We had a lot of happy memories in that building, but most of the fans do know that it burned down a few years ago.
Yes, it
It was
did.
a sad sight when we saw, it was the fire and the smoke. And did you drive by to see what happened?
Yeah, I have a photo of it burning. It was really sad, but it was quite interesting because Leiston Studio was quite an enormous studio, fantastic place actually. And they bought it, and they were, after we finished 3 years, they wanted to close it down. So there was a company, like a clothing company, who took over the whole studio, had a
Yeah.
lot of clothing, but there was a storage space in the end of this place. And I remember when we sold, we put all the tapes of behind the scenes and the
Mm.
masters, and there was a lot of stuff put there that was history of Lazy Town, and was also gave back to London as well. So we had it in like 2, 3 copies just to be safe.
Mm.
And one of them was in Iceland with all that. And when it started to burn, everything burned down. So everything was gone. All the background of Lazy Town and all the behind the scenes and all that stuff. But when I bought it back now, we were looking for it in Iceland. What happened? Because we put it in a safe, did it all burn down? But then there was a company called KPMG, who's like a firming, like accounting company.
Yeah.
There was a guy there called Jonas. He saved it. He basically took everything out, and he had it, and he rented a space to put everything in there. So
Oh,
they cleaned
wow.
every tape, they did everything, put in there. So when I bought it back, we thought everything was gone, but we found it all.
Oh, wow.
So that was a
That's
crazy.
huge.
Huge. It was huge. So we are going to go through the tapes now. We haven't done it. We're going to go now because we just got it. We're just going to go through all the tapes and take a look. what treasure is there.
Yeah, that's a full-time job, really,
Yeah,
because there's so many hours and hours probably.
yeah,
When you when
yeah.
you
But it was interesting to work on in many ways.
so
Yes.
you and I, so we traveled to Mexico, Canary Islands, Denmark, Germany, England, Beverly. Everywhere we went, people always recognized you. And are you
I
still being
remember once
recognized?
when we were in LA, we were in a hotel and we were writing Lazy Town on the roof.
Yes.
There was somebody who came to me and asked for autograph like crazy, and then more people came. And then we realized they thought I was a Formula One guy. And I had like a hat on, like a Formula One guy.
Formula
And
One.
yeah, that, and we took a lot of pictures. And then once I was in Miami in a hotel there, and working with Lazy Town, and then suddenly there was a lot of women around me, like asking for autographs and like crazy. I've never seen anything like that before, like really crazy mayhem. And then they thought I was Ryan Seacrest. You know? So it was quite funny
I
actually.
imagine you still get recognized, of course, in Iceland. You're one of the most famous people in the country, but when you travel, you usually
Uh,
travel, you're going to
yeah,
speak in Mexico or,
Latin America, for example, like nearly everybody knows the show there. It's a lot.
yeah.
And you like I cannot go. I can go everywhere, and I never had any problem with it. There's a lot of people come up and want to take photos and autographs and stuff like that, and this stuff never bothers me in my life, never. And I remember once I was driving on in Mexico in the back of a car. It was the same car that Madonna used to drive when in Mexico. There was the bulletproof windows, and the driver had a gun in the, and there was a big black car, and like a celebrity.
Yeah.
And I was in the back. And suddenly I was driving on this motorway, and I saw like houses like down a little bit, but those area was really poor. You could
Mm.
see really, really poor in Mexico City. And I saw all the cast of Lazy Town outside on the street. Like I saw them there. Like I saw Sportagus, Robbie Rottenstein, all of the guys. And this was like a bridge and like an auto, like really. So it's very difficult to go down there. It was almost like you need to go like a half an hour to try to go down there. And I said to the driver, can we stop? Can we go down there? He said, we cannot stop on the highway. I said, how can we go down there? And he said, you should not go down there. This is a really dangerous area. We never go there. And I said, you have to go. And he's okay. And he took the car, and we did all this half an hour, and he tried to find this place. And when I came, I walked out of the car, and there was birthday parties or something. There was something going up in the
Oh
street.
no, you're kidding. That's
And
amazing.
there was like a pirate version of Lazy Town doing like a live show on the street. And they have made all the costumes, and they have everything really well done actually, and it was sometimes even better done actually than in a real life show. And and I walked and I said, I am Sporicus, and they were really afraid that they would be sued, or they would be
Oh.
something would happen to them. But when I was just laughing, then it ended up I did the show with them.
Hmm.
A whole hours of and all the kids from the street came, and it was fantastic actually. I've
That's
never
wild.
had any problem in Mexico ever in my life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were down in Cancun together and people were recognizing you on the beach. Why,
Yeah,
just sitting not even in your costume.
yeah, it was quite interesting. Maybe it's the nose, I know. But it was funny because they dubbed Sportagus in Latin America, and he has this deep voice, and I was squeaky like Beckham. I was like, "Hi guys." Then, what about this deep voice? What happened to that?
I have some questions from fans that they wanted to, mostly a lot of them ask the same kind of questions. Do you have a favorite episode?
I think villain number one I like a lot. because I think it was chosen of Newsweek 19 best
Yeah,
episodes ever made in history.
that's
Of
right. Yeah.
100 best episodes ever made, and
It's
there was a lot of episodes was higher. So but pirate episode I like also. There's the song. There was a lot of other episodes that in the big. There was something interesting with Lazy Town the first season, because I was sometimes really pain in the ass with my staff. I was really trying to get them to do better, and I was always pushing them to do better.
yeah.
And the 3D in the beginning of the first episodes, I never liked it. I thought the floor was not correct, and the ground, and there was a lot of stuff, and the houses was not as good as I wanted, and etc. etc. I was always asking for it, and they said, no, this is not possible. This is the best thing in the world. This is the best. This is the best, and you cannot ask people to do better than best. But when you look back on Lazy Town, you see the first episode, like Sports Day,
Yeah.
background is really shit. And so I think I was right on that. And then later, if you look at season 3 and 4, the
It's,
quality of the show is fantastic.
it's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you were necessarily, it wasn't that you were so hard, but you said a thing that I still remember is that you would always push to say, go deeper.
Yeah.
Go deeper. What's your answer to this? Okay, you have your answer. How do we do this? We do it like this. Go deeper. How do you do it better than what you just said?
Mhm. Yeah, I did. I tried to push that, and that was a little bit in the whole building, and all the 160 people who worked on Lazy Town. They actually, I think, had the same mentality. They start to ask somebody who worked for them as well, who was maybe a boss over apartment or over writing or over sounds or whatever. They ask the people, let's do it a little bit better. Let's watch it again. Let's do it better.
Yeah.
And but it was quite. I don't know what I say to the question.
Favorite episode, just
Yeah, the favorite episode, because it's difficult, because I thought sometimes. Uh, Sometimes I like the slower one, sometimes better, sometimes. There was and some of them I like if some brilliance with the puppets are done, something work, because I don't think people realize when you have a puppet and the puppet is moving and the puppet is normally puppets are animals. So you have Kermit, and his hands can go, "Woo, I'm Kermit." Woo. He can turn around, and the hands are just moving. With Lazy Town, you couldn't do that. They were human. So
yeah.
you couldn't move the head, that you could not move there would be something strange if I move like this. So you need to move and then move. And so it was an enormous amount of training with the puppeteers to do it. And the puppets are really big. So I love when I see sometimes I stop seeing their puppets
Yeah.
and watch it. I just forget they are puppets. And
Especially Gummithor. Some of the faces that he let Ziggy make, it would be, how does he
yes,
do that with a puppet's face?
it was really interesting. Just small things they did. And I thought that was so brilliantly done. And all the puppeteers were like outstanding guys, people were just crazy how good they were. And I tried, because I made those puppets. I went with Neil Scalant in London to really work on those puppets, and it was crazy. And I knew how it operated, and we did arms and there was a lot of stuff that we need to do with the puppets. But it was quite interesting is that I tried it once, and there was puppeteer was gone. I think it was the mayor. I think it was David, who was gone. He need to fly to New York on Friday at 5 o'clock or something from Iceland, and we were shooting to 7. And there was one scene with the mayor. He was just going to say, "Okay, I do it," and walk out. It was something just like, "Hello, okay, I go." And I said, "I do it, no problem. I just shoot it." And there was no way I could do it. And there was no way I couldn't move there. I was not strong enough to move the mouth. everything was the opposite in the monitor. When I turned this way, it
Yeah,
was the other
yeah.
way. And when I walk out, I was supposed to go this way, then I walked this way because everything was. Then I realized, wow, I've been asking those guys to do, no, 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 let's do it again. Do this, that, just move up. And they did. So then I realized, wow, it was good that I didn't know this.
But they
In the,
did it. They never said no. No, I don't think
oh,
anybody
no, no, they tried
ever
again.
said,
Again.
yeah,
So it was brilliant. So I like sometimes when some episodes, I don't know which, there are a lot of episodes that I like. There are, I think I would say maybe villain number one, because the Stefan Karl is so good at it there.
yeah.
Um, what do you think? What's your favorite one?
Well, I like my favorite is Miss Roberta because it was Sunday night and we didn't have a script for Monday morning. And we
Yes.
had talked about the storyline for Miss Roberta probably 2 weeks earlier, and it was something that would be pretty easy to shoot. And
Yeah.
so we wrote that script Sunday night.
Wow.
Stayed up all night Sunday and had a script by Monday morning.
Just so people understand a little bit, sometimes happens is that we have budget, that there was a budget of the show. So sometimes we got a phone call on Friday night from the finance guy, and they said, "You guys have spent the budget of you built too expensive vehicle for Robbie Rotten, or you built an or you built a rocket who
Yeah.
costs too much." So we needed to find another show. We couldn't shoot the next one because there was
No.
not a budget for it. So sometimes we need to, like, we have to write another one immediately in one night. I like a little bit like to go Lazy Town Go to the Moon. That is really well done episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
I, I
there
would
was
tell
the
people sometimes if you just take any
pyramids.
episode, the pyramid, amazing adventure, the Princess Stephanie was fun.
There was a lot of.
Yeah.
I I personally like more the season 3 and 4 than actually the first season. But some people like the first season much better than 3 and 4. It's a little bit older, the 3 and 4.
Yeah, but you couldn't do 3 and 4 without 1 and 2. I mean, establishing the personalities, the relationships, how they speak, and I think if we had come out of the gate writing the bigger episodes, it would have been a different show.
Yeah.
Um, but who knows? Maybe that's another question the fans have. Will there be a new series ever?
It's possible. I mean, Lazy Town is Sporticus number 10, and there's a reason why it's number 10. Maybe there is Sporticus number 1, and maybe there's a girl number 8 who's Sporticus number 8, or maybe there's a Sporticus in a wheelchair number 7, or I don't know. It could be. And maybe we would go and find Sporticus number 11 somewhere in the world right now and do maybe something totally different. And so it is possible. It's maybe possible that Lazy Town would do in different formats. Maybe there will be a Lazy Town movie. I don't know. Maybe there is a way to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think what I think, me personally, maybe I am finished with my I created Lazy Town and the characters and just how Lazy Town should be. Maybe younger people now would find out right ways to do it, like somehow. And I believe that could be possible. That maybe I am finished with my bank of ideas. So maybe Lazy Town needs now to have younger people come up with maybe some ideas.
I think that would be a phenomenal idea. These kids that come up, they came up in different way than we did. They think differently. Um,
Totally. So I
yeah.
think that would be interesting. Yeah, I think that could actually happen. Yeah, anything is possible.
Well, you've given me a lot of your time, and I really appreciate it. And we've got a lot more to talk about, and I hope we get a chance to do that. But it's good to see you again. It's been a while, and
Yes. like
Maybe
that.
I'll come up to Iceland and visit your restaurant. You give me a free meal.
Absolutely. There we are going to have parties, I hope, in November when LazyTown is 30 years old. So we're going to
Wow.
invite everybody who worked on LazyTown and try to meet everybody and yeah, talk about old stuff and see what any story there that it will be interesting to talk about.
Have you ever thought about writing a book of your life? You certainly have had a lot of
They
adventures.
were thinking to now they are speaking about to make a documentary about LazyTown.
Ah,
And because there's a lot of things about kids are getting sicker and they're dying younger. There's something happening in the world. Um, there, it also that where LazyTown came from and the background and what is it and what were they fighting against in the licensing business and the food business and fast food business. LazyTown never went there, and most kids shows were associated with that. That's where the money came from. We didn't do that, and we were trying to keep integrity as much as we could.
yeah.
And so I don't think Lazy Town is maybe a perfect show. I think there's a lot of things when I look at Lazy Town that I would do a little bit different, maybe if I would do it again. But I'm proud of the people who worked on it and the message and what Lazy Town stand for. And also how the fans, what I was most proud of when I got a lot of letters from fans who told me this is what the show means to me. And then it was a little bit like same as was hoping when I was starting to work on it.
Hmm.
So that was quite fantastic to hear that. Um, of course, Lazy Town is not a show that everybody loves it, but Lazy Town is a little bit show that people look at it in a different way. Some people look at Lazy Town as a funny show, and they like to laugh because it's Robbie Rotten and how he's fantastic. Stefan Karl was really, really good. And then some people look at it as a music show, and somebody look at it as an action show, and even parents look at us as a tool to raise healthy kids. So it's a layered show. It's not a one thing, not really. So I think you need to watch maybe 5 episodes, then you start to understand it. Okay. I think to watch one Lazy Town episode is like, what is this? It's really weird. It's
Yeah, we've
different.
heard that from a lot of people. What is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. What is this? And so I think that will be really interesting in a way.
Yeah, well,
But it's
maybe,
it's good to have it back and started to put into more work. It would be nice to see everybody in Iceland who worked on it. And we are now gathering, if we see we have all the material we push behind the scenes. And we're going to try to do maybe like a Leiston museum also, a little bit like Harry Potter Museum in London, that
oh
we would
yeah.
have states and everything like it used to be, but with all the memory of first writing, the first of this one, first script, first of that, and props who are only one left of it. There's only a few things that are a lot of things are gone. But there's a lot of people who come to Iceland, for example, tourists, they want to see Lazy Town. They basically want to go and take a look at it.
Oh yeah.
So we are thinking to maybe do something like that. Who would be and it would be different. It would be a little bit like tell a different story. Like why is it like this and that? Why
Hmm.
is Sporicus born in a balloon? And et cetera, et cetera. There's all kind of stuff like that.
Oh, it's endless. The possibilities are endless, especially with the characters and all the storylines. It's
Yes, I think that is interesting. There will be interesting. I saw there was a list somewhere about the favorite episodes that the fans thought was the best one. I would love to get that one. I don't. I saw it somewhere that that all the fans was telling what they like the most. It
well,
would be
once we put this up online, we can send out that request.
it would be interesting to see what is the favorite one, and it would be also interesting for me because I love that because I saw it and I don't know why that happened because we did everything in one building and then sometimes we have edited, we have locked we lock the episodes, and then we send it out. And I see sometimes, I don't know how that happens, but there are a few frames that certainly something is, yeah, I'm throwing something this way, but in the frame it went this way. So it's a little bit like, because we mirror some of the frames,
Yeah.
so the mirror didn't come into the edit somehow. So somehow and there's 2-3 places like this in the whole season of Leicester. I see it.
Yeah, you see it. Nobody
I
else would
see it.
see it.
I don't think anyone else will see it. But it would be really interesting if the fans have seen anything with Lazy Town, like puppet hat accidentally in a shot,
Oh
or
yeah, no, they do. There's a website, there's a fan site called getlazy.net,
that would be
and
fun.
it's run by some amazing kids. And I say kids, they're adults now, but they do capture things like that.
That would be great. That's fantastic, because I love that. Yes, but we when Lazy Town, now it's how many years did I put the costume on? 12.
Well, 20 years ago this year.
No. When did the last time when I put the costume
Oh, the
on?
last time was 20,
2014 or 2000 and
somewhere around 13, 14. So it's been
yeah,
about 10 years.
10 years, yeah, 10,
Will it
11 years.
still fit?
No, that's the fun part. I think because there's only one hole in the belt, so it's not possible to fit the costume without. So maybe as a joke, when I'm, because I'm 60 this year, and Lazy Town is 30 years old in November as well. Lazy Town is 30 years old, 4th of November, and I am 60, 10th of November. So maybe I would try the costume in the birthday and come out on the stage and look maybe like Elvis, but maybe too long in the costume. I don't know.
I don't know. I remember your 40th birthday party, which was a James Bond theme, and everybody on the office either dressed up in like a tuxedo and an evening gown or as a Bond
Yeah,
villain, and
it's a
it was
great party.
it was a crazy, crazy night.
It was crazy night. So it's like, so I say hello to all the fans. Fantastic to see you guys, and I hope you, if you have any questions, I can come again and you can ask me.
Yeah, let's do it again. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and
Welcome.
we'll see you again.
See you again. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.